What's up, J3PJP in the house? Okay, I want to make another a video about this cured adrenaline. Okay, um, basically, I said what I said in those other videos. I want to give you some other clues to help you use this to change things in your lives. So basically, adrenaline has two functions. Okay, two functions. One is to give you strength. The other is to make you feel good, make you feel good. Okay? It doesn't matter what action you do. You can be a kid, have a temper tantrum, a criminal doing something crazy, anything. It doesn't matter. Or you can help an old lady cross the street. When that adrenaline flows, it feels good. And whatever job that you feel with that adrenaline, you're going to do it. So it's almost like being in like the Hulk when you get that adrenaline. He said, "Well, how does it feel?" And he said, "Well, sometimes I can't remember and stuff like that." Well, that's exactly what's going on with you. You still have that same feeling and stuff like that. A lot of people do something crazy and once that adrenaline going, they're like, "Why'd you do that?" Like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking anything, you know. And so, um, what they're doing is they're using this to really hurt a lot of people instead of helping, like the kids with the attention deficit. These kids are not. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they're thinking about so many things, and they're using their adrenaline to what they're fueling their thoughts with their adrenaline, so it's making them act that way. And it's not because they want to act that way. It's just once you assign, you fuel whatever thought it is with that adrenaline, you're going to act out that sequence, and that's it. Okay, and these doctors, they all know that, but um, a lot of people don't know that. So, like, I was just reading some articles and stuff about how they're sending, kids to a lot of blacks and Latinos to jail and all this stuff. Not only blacks and Latinos, but these kids to jail, I should say, because they're getting upset and frustrated at school and stuff like that. Well, that's wrong. Okay, and they're doing you parents wrong. Okay, and they're doing the children wrong because these kids basically they just might be bored, so they'll think of something, and they release the adrenaline, and they'll just act it out. And some kids, just have a lot of stress and things like that. So, but it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. So you need to teach these kids how to think, how to create images in their minds that are not bad. So like you talk about the drugs and stuff. It's funny because they said this one guy, I forgot who it was, but he said had the America had not legalized marijuana, a lot of it would be more blacks in jail, and it's kind of messed up because it's true. Why did they legalize marijuana? And then all of a sudden blacks stop going to jail. Then if they legalize everything else, other people won't go to jail. But like I was saying, the whole solution to all of this is that a lot of parents, a lot of leaders, hopefully you guys get to see this, you really understand that it's your thoughts that you fuel is what gets you in trouble and stuff like that. Um, I mean, it's like a lot of people, you talk about like the homosexual marriages and stuff like that. People are going to do what they want. I don't really have anything to do that. But I do know the reason behind it, or which I think I do. And that's because when they do those things, that whatever they do, it, even heterosexual, when they have sex or whatever, they're thinking about the action before they do it, and then when the adrenaline flows through, it feels good. So then when they start to engage in doing it, trying to bring that the physical reality of the thoughts that they had, then they'll feel it, and then they'll go through it, and because it's feeling good, a lot of people say it's the correct thing, and it's not necessarily true. The only reason it's feeling good is because of the flow of adrenaline. The act itself may be good, it may not be good, So it's like someone doing a crime versus someone helping an old lady across the street and things like that. You know, you have to really, I know this sounds crazy, but you have to really think about what you're assigning, when you release your adrenaline. Your adrenaline in the dictionary they say due to stress or anger and stuff like that. No, that's not the only way it flows. You control the valve. You control the valve. So you got these little kids having this temper tantrum and stuff. It's because they haven't been taught to control that valve, and they haven't, and they don't have any idea what's going on themselves. A lot of times, people like you have people at home, and the kids are frustrated, and the parents are fighting with the kids and things like that. It's the same thing. The kid will do something, the parent is seeing, then the parent will think of some type of a reaction to it, and more than likely, the reaction to that most parents think about is usually the worst, or pretty much close to the worst thing that they can do. And then they feel they voluntarily release the fluid, they go through the action, and by the time they finish, oh my God, I can't believe I spanked my kid, or I did this, and what was I thinking, and things like that. Because when that adrenaline flows through it, it just stimulates everything, it makes you feel good. Your mind you just don't know. And that's why I said when like a black man goes to jail, they already know that, so they're gonna say, well, what were you thinking? If a black man says, well, I wasn't thinking anything, or I don't remember, you know. And then they're like, oh, okay, like an animal, and they say, well, how'd you feel? He said, well, I feel good, because they think about the feeling, they will feel good, and so, oh, he's an animal because he didn't know what he was doing, and he felt good doing this criminal act. But like I said, that's a lie, because animals do not do things just to be doing them like human beings do. They don't just go out. Lions just don't go out and kill a zebra just for the killing of the zebra. They're gonna kill it and they're gonna eat it because they're hungry and stuff like that. So, and then a lot of animals, they fight because of territorial, you know, power and stuff like that. There is a reason, or there are reasons and things like that. But people don't know, but they do know how to control people, and and like a lot of us are controlled by our feelings. If it feels good, then it's the truth. But basically, it's these pictures that you get fed in your mind, and you release the adrenaline, and you just go through the act. So, and then we get programmed. Like I used to say, these trigger words and stuff, and you watching cartoons, and the cartoons talking about fat people, and talking about this person, talking about that person, talking about this and that, and you see it, and then you laughing and stuff, and while you're laughing, you're releasing the fluid, and it becomes a memory in you and things like that. So um, it can stop even racism. When people walk up to you and call you black this and black that, they've already saw you. Then they automatically become disgusted for some thought that they've been taught or whatever. Then they think of a reaction, then they release the fluid, and then they say something to you. Then you get upset, then blah, 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 and things happen. But don't get upset, try to understand what I'm saying, because it happens even when it's sex, Like I said in my other video, you see a girl or a guy, and you think of you don't imagine having the most romantic sex activity, whatever, in your mind. Then you release that fluid, and then you go out and you try to talk to the girl and try to do it. If it's your wife and you try to act it out with her, or some girl you picked up or whatever, and it's not the same. Then you get frustrated and upset. Well, why wasn't it the same? And down. Well, think about it. You had sex in your mind, and um, you cannot duplicate that feeling in the physical realm, because the girl isn't thinking about what you're thinking, and can't do the things that the characters in your mind did and stuff like that. And then plus, if you really want to think about it, because a lot of people run around here sex craved and stuff, you know, if you have sex, I mean, sex is only going to last what? Probably won't last no more than 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes anyway, due to the amount of the burst of adrenaline. So that's why people have to think of something to keep that adrenaline going, because they're trying to relate the feeling of having sex with the flow of the adrenaline that's going through their bodies, and that's not what it is. Having sex in itself is will create feelings and stuff like that, but it's not going to, the feelings that you're going to have is not going to equate to the feelings that you're going to have based on the amount of adrenaline that flows from you just having sex. Then it flows from you having sex and imagining things at the same time. And it's not going to work like that. Like I said, I told one of my friends, some white guy in LA, and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, well, you just thinking about some other woman. He didn't believe me. He came back the next day. He said, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I said, everybody's doing it. So basically what's going on is everybody's living these fantasies, these stimulated fantasies in their minds, and then they act them out in reality, and then a lot of people get in trouble and stuff. So like I said, please take some time and really try to understand this because it's important. You can destroy racism with it. I mean, you can walk up to the governor or some political person or some movie star, whoever, and you say, okay, well, why are you doing this? Well, because of this. And then you present the case and say, well, the reason I think you're doing it is because you see an image. Then you have a reaction that you think of. The reaction that you think of is the worst possible reaction. Then you fuel it with your adrenaline, and then you carry out that action, but you don't know that when adrenaline flows, or we do know when adrenaline flows, I guess some people do recognize it, that its purpose is to make you feel good. And so it doesn't matter if you're doing something bad or not, you're feeling good. So you're calling me a bad name, or you're punishing black people, just for your own personal um, pleasures that you're just imagining in your head, and it has nothing to do with reality. And they might at first might not think about it, but you talk to them and explain it to them. You know, and when people go home, they're not going to forget what you're saying. They're going to think about it. You plant that seed. You plant that seed, and eventually, what's going to happen? A lot of people are going to start controlling their thinking. When you go out to a club and you're drinking, you're drinking why? Because you think it's going to put you in a good um, since a good mood, feeling good, so you can talk to a girl. And it's not that, you drink it, and when you start drinking and stuff, yeah, I'm gonna get drunk so I can have some fun, But you're already having fun and already imagine that stuff in your head, and the adrenaline is already flowing. So yeah, that's gonna be cool, cool. You feeling good? Then you go drink. No, you don't have to drink. You can stop right there because it felt good because of the image that you put in your head already. So you got to really understand that what I'm saying is really important, because after a while, when people start thinking about, well, okay, then if I stop thinking about this or I stop thinking about that, then what can I think about? Well, the next logical thing to do is study and get more information and things like that. Like I talk to a lot of kids that I teach, and my own son too. I said, hey, what's the purpose of studying? And he says he doesn't know, or get a job, and different reasons and stuff. And I said, no, you study to learn more about yourself. It's like when you but then I asked him, I said, when you study, is it funny? He's like, no. And I said, well, why isn't it? And he can't tell me. He said, it's just not fun. And then I told him about the adrenaline. I got a dictionary, explained everything, and I told him that it makes him um, it motivates him, or it doesn't motivate him, but it makes him feel good when it releases. And then if he think of a picture in his mind, well, I'm going to study, and then release the adrenaline, then while he's studying, it's going to feel good. And then it'll go away after a few minutes, and then you got to do something again to think of that same image until the image doesn't provoke any type of excitement for you to release it, because sometimes some people can just release it, just it feels good. Some people can't, so they need something to, press it, cause some kind of stress. And stress is not, it doesn't mean bad or anything. It's just pressure on the glands or something to induce. Huh? My vocabulary is popping back and forth to to make the adrenaline flow. So please think about this. You know, all those brothers in jail, they go to the rehab and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you that you know, they got a lot of people fooled. If you want to rehab brothers and any criminal and stuff, you just gotta tell them, listen, your problem isn't that. Your problem is this: you are fueling some type of a action with your adrenaline, and they're gonna look at you and go, "What are you talking about?" And you're gonna say, "You see something that happens, or something that happens to you, right?" And they say, "Yeah." Then you think of a reaction, right? And your reaction that you think of is usually going to be the worst possible thing that you can what the situation that you see, you're going to judge it as the worst possible situation. Then you're going to think of a an action to overcome that um, decision or yeah that decision that you made based on the incident or the situation that you saw, and then you fuel it with the adrenaline, and then you go out and you get that surge. But what you don't understand is once that adrenaline flows and you start doing that movement, then you're not going to be able to stop. You weren't able to stop until it burnt off, and then by the time you burnt off, you're like, oh, what did you do? And once you think about it, while you were doing it, you know, you felt good. That's like some people will like slap somebody and it feels good because of the adrenaline flow. And they do it again, they do it again, they do it again. Like some parents spanking their kids and they can't stop because of that feeling is so good. You know, so they want to get that feeling again, so they're doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. You know, by the time they finish, they pretty much went overboard and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with weed. You know, people say, "Oh, come on, smoke this weed. It's gonna feel good, man. It's gonna feel good." And the whole thing is, it's not that the weed is gonna feel good. Sure, it's gonna give you some type of whatever it is that's gonna happen. Because some of these plants, you know, when you burn them, you go through your body. They're natural healers and stuff like that too, like tobacco in its original form and stuff like that. But what it is you're going to you're going to basically you just psyching yourself out. You smoke weed, you know, you get all high, you're like, oh, this is so cool. But what it is you probably get into some mental state, and then you think, and then you say, oh, wow, this is cool because you've released some adrenaline from, you know, something, and it's going through your body. You're like, oh, this is cool, it feels good. Yeah, I'm mellow, man, I'm mellow and stuff like that. But all drugs, you know, in all situations too, you know, even when you get into a fight, you know, like I said, this racism stuff is the same thing, you know, and if you can get people on track to understand that, hey, it's your these images that you're thinking that's really, well, those aren't the problems because you can think what you want. It's just when you fuel those thoughts into action, then that's where it is. And then basically you just have to start teaching people how to just think on the positive side. Because if you, I mean, you know, you think about it. Well, if the adrenaline flows and it gives us strength and it makes us feel good, then what were we created for? You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't matter if you're doing something good or it doesn't matter if you're doing something bad. Once you release that fluid, then once you release that fluid, it's going to flow through your body and it's going to make you feel good. You know, and that's why some people can stay in these deadbeat jobs, and because they'll just do anything. Next thing you know, they're imagining and, you know, things in their heads, and they're releasing that adrenaline into um, fuel whatever those thoughts is, and they're making them feel good, and they keep doing it and keep doing it. A lot of people, they get stagnant in life. You know, we call it procrastination, I think it is. And why do people procrastinate? It's because they complete the jobs or some form of the jobs in their heads, and then it goes through their the adrenaline flows, and then once it flows, it feels good. And then you finish, you're tired, and it's almost like you've done the job already. It's almost like if you've done the job, and that's why a lot of times when I'm thinking about doing something, when I think about it, then when I finish thinking about it, because of the flow of adrenaline, I'm already tired. Your body's tired because it does take a lot of energy to do that, and your body does become, a little exhausted, and so you, then I don't do it, and then I'm thinking like, well, why don't I do it? Because I want to do it, because I thought about it, it's a good idea and it felt really good and all of that. But the whole thing is, when you think about it, you're already released the fluid, and you're already that fluid that you released already motivated you to do it. So the next time you do it, or you really get to do it, or start to do it, then you're thinking like, well, why can't I get that same motivation that I had before? So and then when you do try to do it, then it's like a grind instead of just flowing through. Some people could just flow through things, and some people just gotta grind through things and stuff like that. So it's um it's really important to understand adrenaline flows to your body, and it makes your organs move. When it makes your organs move, you burn off all this energy, calories, or whatever, and it makes you feel good. And when you finish, you're exhausted. And it's funny because you can get exhausted thinking about making love to some girl in the street that you've seen, and for a couple of seconds you'll think about it for, I don't know, 10 seconds, however long it takes for you to go through the process. And then when you finish talking to her, you're like really tired, and it's just a thought, and you just get tired. Wow, I can't believe I'm really tired and stuff. What's going on and stuff, and it burns, and it's kind of almost like, well, you need like those superfoods and stuff, like chia seeds or whatever, they got a lot of things in them that'll give you a lot of power and stuff like that. But it's just interesting. So hopefully you guys out there, you start forming workshops, and you talk about this, and you really start thinking about it with yourself, because basically what it is when you study, you don't want to study. You got your assignment in front of you, and there's no motivation to do it. Okay, like I put on my YouTube, my Facebook. What would motivate you to study? The knowledge that you're going to gain just in itself, or if somebody paid you money, $1,000 a week, And some people are like, well, only one guy said he'll do it because he don't need the money. No, he would do it for the money because he already reads it anyway. Okay, no, whatever that's supposed to mean. But a lot of people probably wouldn't do it just for the knowledge. But the whole thing is, you gotta understand this. Whenever you have an idea and you want to do it, you can do it. Okay. That's that song. If you can see it or you believe it, you can do it. Sure, you can do it, but it's not the belief, because a lot of people say, well, I got confidence. Confidence is not good, because if you want to go to the store, you can have confidence that you can go to the store, but as long as you are not, uh, if you don't know what the store is, or if you don't know how to get there, you know, you can believe all you want, but knowing you need to have that concrete action and stuff. And belief is not necessarily an action. So um, you sit there and you got your homework, then you're not motivated to do it. But the motivation you can create. You just clap your hands, dun, 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 and even if you do it right now, it might sounds funny, but that adrenaline just flowed through my body, and it's kind of livening up. And I did the same thing with my son. I'm talking to him. He just one time he was just like, I'm like, what are you doing? And the first impulse, that normal people get up and slap. What you doing? He like, what's going on? Because he doesn't know that he's being rude. And so, um, uh, or he put up in his mind that he just don't want to listen because he's not comprehending, and then the reaction that he did, he released the adrenaline, and it flows to his body, and sometimes he give me and and I'm like, and I keep trying to tell him, listen, it's your thoughts. And so I tell him, when you study, because you got to teach these kids how to study. You got to teach them. If their printing is bad, then say, hey, take 10 minutes, and just print one letter real slow. And you print it again real slow. And you print it again real slow. And what's going to happen is the survival. But, like I said, I call it survival. It's not really survival. It's just you're going to adapt, regardless. And you're going to your what it is your hand is going to get used to the same repetition, the same repetition. So it's almost like if we're robots and creatures or something like that, and you the same thing. And what happens, you get faster and faster and faster with the same um, um, style, and the rhythm is going to be the faster and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, you're going to be writing real nice, beautiful, legible handwriting and stuff like that. And so I told him that's what he need to do. When you study, again, you're going to get bored, so you need to get up and jump around or sing a song, or something like that. Because I asked him straight up, what is studying about? He was like, he didn't know. I told him, it's uh, you study to know yourself. And I said, do you love yourself? Do you really love yourself? He said, yes. I said, well then, do you have interest in yourself? He said, yeah. Then I said, well then, why don't you study? I don't know. Well, I know the answer. There's no motivation. And the motivation is basically, there's no, when you think about studying, there's no gush of adrenaline flowing through your body, which it should be, because know thyself, they say, but you're not going to know yourself if you don't study, and knowing yourself, you know, that should be the motivation. I'm going to, I love myself, so let me do this. I love myself. I love myself. And I also told my son, when you're doing your homework, talk out loud, because when you hear your voice, it's soothing, it's motivating. It does release the adrenaline, and you can do the work. And when you read your assignments, read them out loud, and tell him when you do your math, say it out loud, because he'll do it in his head and he'll make a mistake, because I time him. Then I time him again when he's talking, and he do it and he doesn't make a mistake, and it's really interesting. You guys can try it with your kids or with your friends or whatever. It's like when I'm teaching English, I give this, do it like this, and I say exactly write this, and they don't do it like that, and they do it their way, and it's taking like 5 minutes. And I say, okay, listen, I'm telling you, do it like last night I was teaching these kids. I was like, do it this way because you will not make a mistake. And then you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. There's a pattern, there's a rhythm, there's a this, there's a that, and you'll understand it. And then you can just do it automatically, you know. And they did it, the way I told them, no mistakes. Like, oh. Then they tried again, they didn't do it the way I told them, and they made a mistake. And I'm saying, listen, just do it like this because you're going to understand. Just do it like this. Do you want to make a mistake, or are you in a rush? And I said, when you're studying, like my son's friend told him, listen, when you're studying, there is no rush to study. Because once you study and you start understanding this stuff, and like, oh, wow, I see it, bam, the rush of adrenaline flows through you. It feels good, and then you go, okay, and then you really start to, okay, yeah, this is good, okay, I understand it. You look at the answer, okay, this is right. And then while you're talking to yourself, mumbling to yourself, you're actually creating that stress, that pressure to release more adrenaline. Da 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 da. And next thing you know, you're gonna finish. It's gonna feel good, and you're gonna be like, wow, I don't even remember exactly the details, but yeah, I did it. It felt good. And I'm finished, So, so that's how you get kids motivated in school. If you're a parent and you have problems with your bills and stuff, this is what you do. You need to look around your house when you get your money and you say, hey, why do I need this? Why do I need this food? What is it going to do for me? And you have to think about it. If it's not doing anything good for you, then you shouldn't eat it, because even though when you eat it, it's still going to, if it's anything that's going to release the fluid, it's still going to feel good eating it because of the images that you are thinking about when you eat ice cream. You eat the ice cream, it's so sweet and it feels so good. And all you're doing is just eating it for the taste. But the ingredients in it, sometimes there's good things in it, and sometimes there's bad things in it. And you have to understand that is that a lot of times, like, you get stressed. Oh, I'm stressed out and I just want to eat this ice cream because I have this problem. And the whole thing is, what problem do you have? You can fix these problems. If you got somebody at work, somebody that's on down the street that you don't like, then you need to go down and you need to talk to them and say, hey, you know what? I need to talk to you. I want to get this problem. They're like, no, no. Then if you gotta pay them $20 just to listen to you, then you sit down with that person. You explain to them what is going on, and you say, you might not understand it, but please, this is what's really going on in your life. Okay, and you explain to them the drilling. You see me, then you judge me with the most. You make a decision about me. It's going to be the worst possible thing. Then you think of a reaction. Then you fuel that reaction with the adrenaline. The adrenaline is going to flow through your body to do that action that you want. And then you're going to say, hey, you stupid son of a blah, blah, blah. And when you're saying it like that, then it's released, because you're releasing the fluid, it's just gushing through your body, and it feels good. And because it feels good, and we've been taught if it feels good, that means it's okay. And so you son of a blah, 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 blah. And as you still going, and every time you saying something, it's releasing more fluid and more fluid and more fluid, and it's feeling good, and it's feeling so good that you're only way you're going to stop is until you just get a whole burnout. And then you finish, you're like, oh my God. Like people get, and they argue or they think about this and they finish, they're like so exhausted and stuff, because when you, adrenaline pumps up um, your organs, muscles, and stuff like that, and it takes calories, it takes energy. And when you release the when you release the adrenaline, it's going to consume more. So then when you finish, you're like, oh, exhausted and stuff like that. And it's almost like when people have sex and they feel exhausted. You're not having sex, you're not exhausted because of the physical motion that you're going through. Because when you're having sex, what are you doing? You're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and around and around and around. But then when you finish, you got to like, unless you're just really out of shape. But more than likely, your mind's going to be all messed up too. You can't think. You're like, wait a minute, I need time to recuperate. You're like, huh? So, um, so you go down and you do that with your enemies. People that you have problems with. You guys can do the same thing to these police officers. You could do the same things to your to the principals at school, different people in different positions. We are all affected by this. And once we all understand that it's our thoughts that we fuel with adrenaline, that's pretty much the problem of all of our problems. If you think about it, then you're gonna like, well, wow, like I said again, what am I gonna think? How should I think? Because I mean, I think about this. Sometimes I'll like go to my wife, because I like ask for sex. I just don't ask if she's in the mood. You're in the mood. She's like, no, 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 no. And then at first I was like, okay, but sometimes I get her in the mood. Sometimes she's in the mood. But for me, because I'm bored, which I've stopped that, I need some stimulation. And I'm thinking the stimulation I need is sex, but it's not sex. The stimulation you need um, is that uh, flow of adrenaline going through your body so you can feel that sensation. So basically, we're thinking that the sensation is going to be from the flow of the adrenaline that gives you this real nice sensation, and it does. But there's another way where you can get that sensation, and it's just these foot massagers. I made a video about. Hopefully, I'll put it up on this, and it just feels so good. You just sit there, and if you get to it, just move your feet back and forth, and the sensation that goes to your body is nothing. I mean, sex is nothing compared to that. And you're like, oh my God, and your body starts to shake. And when you finish, you're like, oh my God. But it makes you feel good. But when you finish, you shouldn't be as exhausted as you are um, when you had the same sensation due to the release of your adrenaline. So if you want to have sex, basically, like I said, more than likely, once you understand all of this stuff, sex is going to become boring. And it's going to be something that you're not going to want to do. Well, not necessarily not going to want to do, but once you start understanding that you're having sex in your head first, then you're going to start to go, ugh, I'm weird, you know. And then you're like, okay, well then what's the purpose of me having sex other than to have babies, you know? And then, and I'm not saying that you, oh, okay, let me talk about marriages. A lot of marriages, a lot of people are having problems with their wives and stuff. The reason you're having problems with your wives is because first of all, the reason that you got together was the wrong reason. Anyway, you got together based on you looked at her and you said she was beautiful, and then you had sex with her in your mind, or you thought about having a nice dinner with her, or or her red pumps or whatever, and then you fueled that thought with your adrenaline. It flows to your body, it feels good, and you said, that's the one I want. That's the one for me. Because it felt good, the Lord's touched me and whatever. Then you go get her, not knowing anything about her. And then you convince her to be with you because you're saying all this romance and this Mayor Plague pickup Mac Daddy words and stuff, and you putting that stuff in her head, and then she's thinking about it, and because she's thinking about the image, and then she's fueling that image with her adrenaline, and then she gets that feeling too, and she's like, wow, this feels good, yeah, I feel you, baby, I feel you, I feel what you're talking about, and because it's going through, I feel what you're talking about, yeah, okay, let's do this, and you get together, and then so in that picture, like all pictures, gonna fade away, and then it's gonna be nothing there, and you're like, where's the stimulation? Then you're gonna look at your wife, and you're gonna be like, oh, well, I'm trying to get this stimulation, but I can't get it. The adrenaline is not flowing. I'm not feeling her. But then you'll see a new fresh, you're like, wow. So the whole thing is, why can't you get this same feeling again back for your wife? Some people just don't understand it. It's all about your thinking, because maybe you burnt out all the images about her that you could have imagined. And sure, people can get together and say, okay, well, we can stay together for the kids, and we can stay together for this, and we can stay together for that. And it's an understanding. But most people value the stimulation in their lives more than the responsibility of two people being together. And that is not good, because the stimulation that you are valuing more comes from some excitement due to adrenaline, and the sensation due through the flow of adrenaline, when you can still have that sensation by other means. And then so people do that. They go to women, then some people do other things, animals or whatever, trying to get this satisfaction, that stimulation from the adrenaline. But just imagine if everyone can just have that on and off switch, and you just sitting there kind of bored. All right, on, drilling flows, it feels good, because sometimes it happens. You're walking on it, that happens. You're walking down the street, and all of a sudden you just get this rush. You're like, oh, and you're like, wait a minute. You're like, oh, like, what happened? You're like, oh, I got this adrenaline rush. If you can get that, if you know how to control your adrenaline, then you can get that rush all the time. But you're gonna be stronger, and you're gonna be more perkier, but when you're tired, you're like the Incredible Hulk, just all laid out and stuff, you know. And it's just funny. It's just really interesting because that's how it is. So when you if you watch this video, you get together with some other friends and hey, watch this video. You guys watch it together. You talk about me and all this stuff and how I'm sitting back and I look like, you know, from what my vision of what I could see, I just look like some black bean or something in my head because it's all. I mean, because of the glare and stuff, it's just all dark and stuff. But you guys sit down and really think about this because a lot of people, what's going on is the reason racism is seemingly that it's going away is because people are just getting tired of all that crap that they're thinking in their head, and people just get tired. And so, but they do relate being racist um, to that feeling. So, well, I want that feeling, so let me go do something racist. But they don't understand that. All they got to do is just do something else to provoke their flow of adrenaline, and they'll get the same thing. So a lot of problems that we have, basically, we have to really think about, well, what is the purpose of this extra adrenaline that we need to power us up? You know what I'm saying? Is it for um, to jump from one continent to another continent, or to jump from one planet to another planet? You so much you just jump in it and whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So there's there is a purpose. You guys, there's no such thing as a dumb person. The only reason you're dumb is because you think you're dumb, and then you release the you think you're dumb, so then you think of some action that's going to prevent you from studying, or that's going to prevent you from studying, or keep in your mind that you are dumb. Then you release the fluid, it goes it out. Yeah, I'm dumb, ha ha ha. You know, everything has a or some type of organization. So like a brother said, yeah, man, he's 6'8", on a basketball court, great shape, bouncing the ball, dribbling, dunking left or right, flip flopping and jumping over cars, dunking and stuff. But yet you show him a problem in physics, and he'll say, well, I can't do that. He'll sit down and try, I can't do that. And you look at him and you say, well, what do you think a jump shot is? I just go, tell me what a jump shot. I just go out there and I dribble that ball, and I'm dribbling that ball and go behind my back, and I can just shoot with my eyes closed, swish every time. And then the brothers, and then another brother were like, you're so funny. You're like, what do you mean? Well, what do you think you just did? That's physics. That's biology. That's motions. That's mathematics. That's all that stuff. You're thinking and you're evaluating and all this stuff. He's like, man, I ain't doing all this stuff. Yeah, when you get that ball and you bounce it, you're timing the ball as it bouncing with the strength that you need. You know, all that stuff is calculable. When you dribbling that ball, you're running and you dribbling and you're running. Well, when you dribble that ball, there's a relationship from the time that ball hits leave your hand, hit the ground, and then bounce back up, and then hit your hand at a certain time. And then you can do it real fast, you can do it real slow, and all of this stuff. And then you turn around and you look at the rim, you close your eyes, or you say you just look at a spot, you jump up, you run to a spot. Like some people can run to a spot, close their eyes, turn, shoot at the basket, and it goes in. Now, how do you think that practice? No, you calculate that stuff in your head just like that. You calculate it in your head. Now, all math is saying take this action and put it on paper. And that's all it is. You're taking your dunking and you putting it on paper. Okay? And then you write it out, and somebody that understands, like, yeah, man, you missed my dunk, man, that was awesome. And they're like, really? Oh man, I wish I could have saw it. And the brother's like, oh no, I can show you. And he's like, what do you mean? The other person's like, yeah, I missed that shot, man. I wish I could have saw it. Why don't you write it down for me? a brother that knows the stuff, what he's doing. He's like, all right, and he write it down, chemicals and all this stuff and the pressure, and you go, bam, this is what I did. And the brother looking at it, and because mathematics is nothing more than an action on paper. And the brother reading it, oh yeah, that, oh my God, oh man, that was awesome, man. Yeah, okay, okay, yeah, I'm awesome. Oh man, that's pretty good. Oh wow, dang man, that was a nice dunk, man. You know what I'm saying? And the brother's like, yeah, man, next time, come out so you can see it physically, visually. Brother said, oh, okay, cool, and that's it, and that is it. It's not that difficult if you can calculate that stuff in your head, just like Tony Parker did with that shot with um on LeBron James was on it. He went up in the air, came up, shot that ball. You got to get the right this, you got to get the right angle. It bounced down, went in. He got to jump. He has to think how much pressure he needs to jump off the ground so he can jump up, so he can hang in the air just long enough so he can calculate that shot. Because he jumps in the air first, then look at your shot, then calculate it, okay? And it's almost like if you see the lines, it's like, oh, okay, I see the line. Boom, 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 bam, game over. We won. So it's not that difficult. And the whole thing is that's messing you up is you're thinking. You're feeling the wrong thoughts. And don't remember, adrenaline gives you strength and it makes you feel good. Okay. But there's other things too. It's going to mess up your mind to the point where you don't understand what you're doing. It's like sometimes you can write real fast. You just but you can't. Sometimes you can think faster than you write, but sometimes you can't. Your hands can go through the motion and you can't keep up mentally with what you're doing. Just So like I said, think whenever you think something's going on, you think of a reaction and you say to yourself, is this reaction good or is this reaction bad? Okay, and then if it's bad, think of something good. You're fighting with your parents fighting with the kids. This is the solution. You have to tell them what's going on and you have to think, hey, when I say something to you to do something, don't just say you don't want to do it. If you don't understand why I'm saying it, then it's better to say, Mommy, why am I doing this? Then if I don't have time, I'll say, just please do it and I'll explain to you later. And then you have to think of an image or something in you so that you can go ahead and do it without getting upset. Or just don't think about anything and just say, okay, I have to do this, so I'm going to do this because my mommy said it. Or um, I'm going to do this because it is. Because when you're raising children, and once they start understanding what you're doing, then you're going to have to start explaining to them how to think and why they're doing this and what's the purpose. And then also your actions are going to have to change. You're going to have to turn off that TV, or just watch the news. And if your kids are there watching it, then you have to explain to them when they go out and they're playing with their friends. Then what you do is every time they're playing games, what did you do today? And you constantly try to tell them that it's all about love of yourself. You have to become interested in yourself. So that's why you study. But then kids don't. But anything you do, you need some type of motivation. And the motivation that you need usually is going to be some type of stimulation. Okay, so you can get a stimulation by massages, getting a foot massage, or you can do it through your adrenaline. This thing about the foot massages, when you're doing it with your foot massage and everything, and you feel good, then you still have control over your actions. But if you do it via your adrenaline, you're not going to have control. Because once that adrenaline It's released. It's gonna like get out the way, get out the way. I'm gonna come through here. I'm gonna come through here. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this, and bam, until I'm burnt, until it's gone. And then when you finish, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? You know, and it happens. The same thing, criminal activities. It happens, sexual assaults. It happens in domestic violence. It happens when people are stealing. You know, what your family, you want to feed your family. Okay, fine. So what do you need to feed your family? You need food. Well, how are you going to get food? Well, you know, you can either grow it or you can buy it. If you steal it and you get caught, there's a chance that you might not return home for it at all, period, or for a number of years. So then the smartest thing to do is go out and plant your food in your house, you know, in the backyard. If you live in an apartment, then you know you have to organize with people, you know, find people. But if you got enemies, then you're not going to be able to work together to build better for each of you, because not even so much that you need to work with them. It's just the fact that you won't be able to get anything done because nobody don't want to work with you because of their thoughts that they're thinking in their heads. That's um, they don't want to work with you, and they're going to fuel it with the adrenaline, and then it's going to end up into a fight or something worse. So that's why I said in my other video, when you wake up in the morning, you have to say this: to me, I am the most important person on this earth. There is no one more important than I am. When you think about that, that statement means that when everything that I do, I have to make decisions in my life that's going to benefit me every second of the way of my life, of the role, everything that I'm doing. So whenever someone looks at me and I don't know what they're thinking, then is it smart for me to make some decision based on what TV says or what I think they're saying without asking them? Then make some reaction, which is going to be a bad reaction, and then go over there and then say something. And if this person is thinking the way I'm thinking, ignorantly, then we're both going to get in trouble. And if he's not white, then both of us going to jail, you know, in America. And if he's white, then I'm going to jail, and he'll probably sue me too. You know? And so you have to think about that. So that's what that is. You're the most important person. There's no one, I don't care who it is, there's no one on this earth better than you, to you. Okay. You have to learn to love yourself. And to love yourself just means to me, love just means it's an action. You have to learn to build yourself, take care of yourself, and grow yourself, nurture yourself. Okay, and that's all I mean. It doesn't mean that you're more handsome than somebody else, or more beautiful, or sexier, or it doesn't matter, because all that stuff doesn't mean nothing, especially when you get old and you're gonna die. Okay, so it means absolutely nothing. It only, if you're thinking about all that stuff, that's only stuff that's gonna last for 10 seconds in your mind, and that's it. Okay, and then you're gonna be full and trying to make that 10-second um, um, image in your mind last the whole lifetime. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Okay. Then I have the other part of the statement where it says that in order for me to accomplish my goals, I must cooperate with others. And that means is that when you understand how to think, then you want to go and do some business with someone else and they're not thinking correctly, well, the first thing you're going to have to do is teach them how to think. And, well, not teach them, but yeah, teach them how to think or explain to them. And they might not think of it later, so you just have to go through whatever it is that you go through. But they'll come around as they have their problems. And then other people come around as they have their problems and stuff. And so you'll just have to cooperate. And then what's going to happen is, because I want to make a video about money, is you're going to start accomplishing the things without money that money does accomplish. And what I mean is, what's going to make you study? Most people say, if I paid you $1,000 a week, would you study? Motivation, yes. So people study and they balling for a year, 2 years, you know. But when you study, what is you doing? What are you doing? You're gaining more information. You know, you're exercising, keeping in shape because you got the money to so you can keep in shape. Because as you study, you start, under reading things that other people studied, to get in shape. And like John Medina, he got this book called Brainworks, which is pretty good. You guys should read it. Um, Drinking water because we need that. You know, eating the right fruits and stuff because um, the um, the top 10 foods that we need are the fruits. You know, it says they're the fruits. They're all fruits, the first top 10. And the first one after water is strawberries. And tomatoes, I think, is the 10th one. And then after that's different things. Um, and when you eat those strawberries and stuff, it oh, just really, it's interesting, you know. But the reaction that it sends to your body is almost like it's charging you up and stuff. So, so what money does is somebody pay you $100,000 to develop some type of a new whatever, but they know it can be developed or attempted to be developed, but um, no one's going to develop it without studying, and no one's going to study without motivation. So then they toss the money at them, and this person studies and do all this research, and when they need something, they go out and they have other people. You're not the only one. You got people creating all kinds of mechanics and people doing physics and doing this and doing that, and building robots and mess with electricity. And they got all these people around the world, all these working on these little bitty projects and stuff. Then as they finish, they start assembling them into different things. And um, then when you finish with your project, then it's not yours. Or if you really, when you after a while, you realize what you're doing because you're drugged, because of the money, and you really get into it. And as you start studying more, the survival thing kicks in, like I said, and you get used to it, and then you create the excitement due to the knowledge that you get, and you create that excitement, which maybe is going to release more adrenaline. Or if you're smart, you go get massages, and you get your foot massages, and you just going at it, your brain is working. And then after a while, you're going to get tired, or whoever's telling you to do this, they're going to come and take your project from you. And then when you realize what you did, you created something that's destructive, or something that's good for humans or whatever, whichever it is. And so, um, and if you're building things that are destructive that normally you wouldn't have done, then you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? I'm sorry I did that. But then, if you think about it, you are motivated by money to do something that you can motivate yourself to do anyway. Except for now, you don't have control over the project that you did, and it doesn't matter who you are. You know, you can still create things now. They're saying that there are some people who are more clever than other people. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, black people, you're not dumb. Okay, you're not dumb at all, and very smart. And if you read history, you travel around the world, go to Asia, and you go off into the mountains, you will see your face. You go to these other countries and you talk to these older people, especially in Japan. There are so, like Guy Kokoboss said, and I see it. You look at the older people, and they have more black features than a lot of these younger people do. You look at the older people. You gotta go out into the countrysides and stuff, because when you go into the cities, everybody light skinned people marrying light skinned, and now you got these guys looking like girls walking around in the city and stuff like that. But you go out in the country, the kids are darker and they got thick lips and white noses and I mean, I really need to make some snap pictures of people's faces because you really need to see it. It's not what you see on TV is not it. Okay, it's not the majority. And so, yeah, the racism, all of that stuff. Of course, I lost track of what I was saying. But you lose your project, and you're not dumb, and people around the world look like black people. One of my friends talking to me, he says he's in Thailand. He's hanging out with this one girl, and he saw this lady with an afro. She was black, and he asked her who she was, and she said she's from the Old Kingdom. And then he asked, well, who you are, and she said we're mixed with them, and I guess white people or something like that, you know. But he said you go off into the jungles and stuff, you can see them, like the Negritos and stuff, and they still around, you know. And the word nega, you guys need to understand that it means chosen people. And from the video that I saw, it says that it was a god named Sambo, and it's in Cambodia, the city that they found. And it's not a bad word, but well, I guess these white men, whoever it was, they saw our religions and they said, oh, it's stupid because they don't believe it, and they disrespect other people's religions, and they start calling them names, and oh, it's stupid, and got you calling you, a royal name, but they changed the meaning, and you don't know what it means, and it's like people run around here calling Muslims bad, and Muslims bad and all this stuff, you laughing, you got Christians talking about Muslims, well, it's the same thing, Um, we were I don't know what it was Negas or something like that, and it's like Nagasaki and all these other places, and you're in Asia still use it, Chinese language and in Korean language they do it, they're using it, and it means something like friend or it's a good word, but we've been taught that it's a bad word and stuff like that. So just really change your thoughts and stuff, because most of your problem is just like I said, you see a situation, you come to your own conclusion, which is going to be a worse conclusion. Then you're going to fuel you're going to fuel that action, where you're going to make a reaction, think of a reaction. Then you're going to fuel that reaction with your adrenaline. And once that adrenaline locks in, you're going to do that action until it burns out. But at the same time, you're going to still feel good. Then you finish, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? Because when that adrenaline runs through you, it like spit into your mind, and you can see it, but you really can't really do too much. And by the time it's finished, you're in jail, and then they ask you what you were doing in jail, and you're like, I did this, and like, why did you do that? And you're like, oh, I just couldn't help myself. No, you can help yourself by not, if you still, the whole thing is, first of all, you see a situation. Checkpoint number one, you research and find out what's going on. Don't make your own decision without knowing what's going on. Then, number two, uh, if you're going to do a reaction, then the reaction should be in response, it should be equate or be the best possible reaction that you could based on the knowledge that you've got, based on your investigation. Then, if you want to fuel it with the adrenaline, then you go ahead and then you do it, and then it'll go through you. But like I said, the adrenaline sometimes is like just a little burst of excitement and stuff, and how much we really supposed to use it, how often we really supposed to use it, I don't know, because You can. I'm sure there are. The adrenaline is like, to me, I'm thinking it's like an emergency quick supply. Like you want to run real fast from a lion. It's like, oh, boom. But normally when you're running down the street and you're jogging, the adrenaline isn't flowing, or maybe it is flowing a little bit. I'm not sure exactly. But still you're getting stimulation. Well, if you were running barefoot, you should be getting stimulation from the ground. While you're running, it feels pretty good. You're like, oh my God, this feels pretty good. Oh my God, you running down the street with a heart on, because you're running down the street and, the rocks, whatever that you're stepping on and stuff, it's just massaging your feet and things like that. But, that's just nature and stuff. And a lot of things that you're thinking of, really got to stop thinking that they're bad. There's nothing wrong with sex. It's just what's wrong with sex is not the act of doing it. It's what you think it's the act of trying to reduplicate some thought in your mind. Sure they got the age limits and stuff like that, but if you really start thinking about sex and you really start thinking about what I'm saying, sex is gonna it's gonna stop. A lot of people are gonna stop, and then you're gonna see a really, really, really quick decrease in population. You know, and maybe that's why alcohol was created, because when you think of alcohol, you get in this daze and it makes you horny and it makes everybody horny, and then they have sex and they have kids. But normally, under normal circumstances, if you're walking down the street and you see a fine girl but you don't think she's fine, are you going to run over there and try to talk to her and jump in her pants? No. So you have to have some type of a motivation to want to go and talk to the girl and things like that. So that's got all this sex and all these sexy clothes, and they teach you, well, when you girl wearing some clothes and some jeans and it's tight, it's sexy, that means she's sexy. You go over there and you can have sex and da 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 da. When a woman probably looked almost more sexier just wearing some $5 sweatsuits. You know what I'm saying? Because the sweatsuit, the jeans, actually the jeans molds to everything, but the sweatsuits just all the it just hangs over. So if there's something out there, it'll just hang over it. You pretty much know what girls wear up under them. Just wear regular panties or thong or whatever. And this um, that's appealing too. But then again, if everyone's walking around naked, like they had this video of this one black guy in the subway. I forgot where. I think in San Francisco. He doing gymnastics and chasing people around and stuff. He's running around, but you look at the body, and the body is a beautiful sculpture, especially when you're in shape. And if people walked around naked, you know, it's not attractive. I mean, like this one black woman I was talking to from Africa, and I was saying like her bathing suit was really nice, and then she was thinking I was making some sexual pass to her, and I said, if you walked around, I said, listen, your colors, it looks nice, and that's all I'm saying. I said, you really, and she was kind of like heavyweight. I said, do you really think if you walked around here naked, anybody would pay you any sexual attention? And then she kind of got mad, but then she laughed. I said, don't think about more than what it is. And that's what I'm saying. People judge, come to their own conclusions, and that's what's bad. But I've been talking for about an hour, so that's it. So you think about that. You make workshops. You get with people. All this stuff can change. A lot of people, they're going to be so stressed out about a lot of stuff that it's going to take them time. Drink some water. Do some exercise, and you really think about it. And what's going to happen to a lot of people is this: you're going to say, okay, I want to have sex because you think in the image, but then when you think, if you realize what you're doing, then you're going to get sad because you're not going to have that feeling of that you have. You're going to realize that the feeling, that the stimulation that you want from that thought is not going to be the same. And you're saying, well, then if I had this sex, then basically I'm just dreaming in my head. Then you're going to get sad. But then when you get sad, guess what happens? The adrenaline still flows, and it still feel good and it still stimulates you. And then when you realize that, you're like, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? Because even when you sad, that stimulation still comes, and that's why a lot of people, when they fight, couples when they fight and they get that adrenaline flows, it makes you horny. Well, I wouldn't say horny, but it stimulates your body and the blood rushes through the different organs, and girls get all hard and stands up, and the guy get all erect, and then they have sex. And a lot of people say, well, if you got a marriage, and if you don't fight, you know, that means you don't love each other. Huh? What kind of madness is that? No, you don't have to fight to love each other. The thing is, what they don't understand is when you fight, you're releasing adrenaline, which um, makes you do continue your fighting, and at the same time, it feels good. It's stimulating, and it's gonna make you horny. And then as you get tired, it's gonna be because when you tired, you get tired for some reason. You get tired and get sleepy. How many of you guys? I don't know. I think the women do too. They get wet, and the guys get wet. Just getting tired makes you horny, and then they have sex. Yeah, the best sex I ever had with my wife, or the girl said with my man, my husband, is after an argument. We can have a good, healthy argument. You know, she got busted eye, and I got busted eye, and I got forks sticking out of your toes or whatever. And the house is a mess. But we had some good sex. Oh my God, it was so good. But then you ask them, well, what were you thinking about? Well, I don't know. I was thinking about some other girl, and she was thinking, well, I was thinking about some other guy, and this and that. And you're like, oh my God. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of ridiculous and stuff because when you really think about it, what's going on, it's going to really make you evaluate, well, what and who am I? What is it to be a human being and all that? And basically, what's going to boil down to is you're just going to have to study and understand a lot of things and see who you really are. Because if you start building stuff and digging and understanding things and meditating and really seeing what's going on, then whatever our purpose of us for us being created or whatever is going to start happening. So as of tomorrow, if you're watching this as of right, like the next 5 minutes, your life can change. You go out there and say the same thing, these gangbangers and all this stuff. You want some food, grow your food. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, because what do you really need money for anyway? To purchase what? So um, if you needed to buy land, get together, buy your land, form your own little governments or whatever, your own little mayors and your own little towns and stuff like that. And then once you do all of that stuff, then you can start building and teach these kids what agriculture is all about, and teach these kids when they're coming up. You teach them about the fruits because there are a lot of fruits out there that you eat. It's gonna send some sensations to your body, like, oh my God, like I used to, I'm like, oh, it's almost like that massage thing. You eat it, and just go through, it's like, oh, you just get horny, like, oh, where's the woman? Where's the woman? You know what I'm saying? And but then maybe you just need to get that stimulation because it might, it stimulates you to move to do what? You stimulate it, it makes you move to do what? So hopefully you guys can get this. If you understand this, you can get rid of all the racism. Oh, for all you guys that don't know what to say to a woman, you just walk up to them and say, hey, you know, um, I got this crazy imagination in my head that um, me and you are making love and it felt good to me. So can you imagine me and you making love and or having sex or having some fun time? It's quite whatever words you want to use. And if she'll think about it and she'll like, oh, well, I got somebody, or she don't want to think about it because maybe she don't like sex, or maybe she understands what I'm thinking is sex. Usually when you have sex, you got to keep some motivation that's going to keep her wet or keep you excited. Well, how long are you gonna get excited? Because how are we gonna share this? How are we gonna stimulate each other? And she get to asking those questions. Um, Stuff like that. Then if you can't answer them, then she's gonna say, okay, well, no, I can't imagine it. Because you gotta tell me. Or some girls, they just halfway understanding and halfway understand. And she might say, yeah, I can imagine myself making love to you. Come on, let's go. And you go, just easy. Um, Getting sex, having sexual and stuff like that is natural, and um, it's it shouldn't be that difficult to do. But I think the truth of the matter is sex is probably something that we normally don't do. And I think we've been tricked into saying that it's something that we should do and we run after because because for whatever reason, maybe too popular to buy things or whatever. Because on a normal circumstance, when you're walking down the street, sure, you're going to get sexually aroused and things like that, but that stimulation that's going through your body is for your benefit and your pleasure. So when you're having sex with another woman, most people they'll share it, but you don't really need somebody to to touch you to feel that stimulation. You just gotta have, like I said, that foot massager. Oh my God, it's crazy. You got them rocks on the beach. The sand. Like here in Japan, they got this thing called pebble marble rocks. These big old rocks. And you walk bare feet on there. It just feels good. Like I got these rocks outside my house. I just walk on top of those. It feels good, stimulate. The only thing is stimulation might cause you to want to have an ejection, and stuff like that. But then if that's the case, then if you do it by hand, fine. If you want to find a girl, then you got to go through the problem of finding a girl, and then you got to because it's funny, um, I'm this is a whole different topic, so I'm going to stop. I think I talked about this in another video, but sometimes it's funny. But here, let me just say something. It's kind of funny because even just to get to the point where you talk to a girl and then you go to a hotel, I'm talking like we're in Japan, because everybody go to hotels out here. And then you go into the room, then you got to create the whole mood again. So that mood that you had when you first thought about it, you talking to her, it's gone. Then you got to create it again. And just to get that stimulation going through your body that you can get just by that a foot massage that I showed you in my other video, just so you can have an ejection. Ejection, what's it called? Right, what's it called? Ejaculation or something like that. And the women do it just so that she can, have an orgasm and stuff like that. But if you, I'm sure they got some machines out there. If you do it right, and in that stimulation, the stimulation is gonna, because it's a trip. So I think maybe somewhere somebody, like I said, the alcohol, created, um, by what they said black men made it, the Africans and stuff, made it and stuff to maybe push people, men and women, to have sex, or something. I'm not sure, but then just eating a strawberry, take a strawberry and eat it, and watch what's gonna happen. The sensation go like, oh. And if you and some woman eating strawberries together, she's feeling good, you feeling good, and y'all touching, damn. So if you want to have sex with a woman, say, hey, baby, want to go eat some strawberries with me? And she might say, really? Huh? What do you mean? And you already know. You're like, ha, ha, ha. She doesn't know. So, it's like my friend Wayne had some wine. I was telling him wine to get you messed up. Oh, I like beer. I'm beer, man. I'm like, again, 5 milliliter thing about it. Oh, this is a red wine. He's like, I like it. Bet she's going to get you drunk. No, it ain't. Man, he drank half of it, man. He was buzzing, man. Damn, I'm buzzing, man. you know, but it's fruit. It's a fruit. Or maybe it's the alcohol. I don't know how to do that or whatever. But it was funny. But yeah, try to, you with your wife or your girlfriend, and you guys get a thing of strawberries and start eating them. And don't eat it fast because you're not going to be able to really enjoy the sensation that's going through your body and watch if you don't have sex or not. Because it's funny because you eating the strawberry and then you gotta open it. When you eat it, you gotta put it in your mouth and you don't bite on it. Your lips kind of like form around it, and then when you bite it, get like a kiss. Then you see a girl kissing you, and then she eats it, and she's like, it feels so good, and then her voice or her sound of her voice is hitting your um, organs and stimulating you more, and then um, the whatever it is that's in the strawberries is stimulating you more, and you get home, you're like, oh my god, and then your fingers, like even on the massage thing, your fingers get to tingling right here, the tips of your fingers get to tingling, and you just gotta grab something, you grab her, and and things like that, and that's it. You're a player. All you need is some strawberries. I'm out.